Hi guys, in today's video I want to share with you a short period from my life when I decided to move from Belarus to Poland. And it didn't happen yesterday or a couple of years ago. I moved here around 15 years ago, and I thought that you would like to hear from me why that happened. To those of you who are new to this channel and have no idea where Belarus is located, probably you need to watch this video first. It will give you a general idea about this country. But for the ones of you who have been following me for quite some time and know who I am, 9-to-5 IT slave who creates video content as a side hustle, keep watching this video and probably you'll hear something new about me, something that I haven't shared before. Let's get into it. So, there are a lot of people who are relocating to Poland right now, not only within Europe, but also from the USA and other developed and not only countries. And there is no need to dig deep to understand why people do that. It's enough to Google and read that Poland is one of the most economically developed countries in Eastern Europe, with a high level of salaries, low housing prices, and relatively low taxes. Apart from that, there are also other reasons related to an IT industry, for example, which is exploding right now in Poland, and it has thousands of new firms and startups that are hiring more and more people, especially programmers who are exceptionally talented in this part of Europe. But it wasn't like that 15 years ago, and my story is totally different and not related to these types of reasons. So, to better understand my motivation to leave the country where I still have my parents and the rest of my family, let me briefly explain the situation I found myself in a couple of years before I made this decision. Belarus is a very unique country. It has a rich, around 1200 years history, but real independence it gained only in 1991, after about 70 years of being part of the Soviet Union. And obviously this dark period of time caused a lot of damage to the overall cultural situation in the country, which in general was a direct effect of Russification. And what Russification for Belarus means, it is putting Russian language and culture on top of Belarusian language and culture. It's changing people's mentality and depreciating our national history and values. So with this damaged legacy after gaining independence in 1991, the country got into the hands of a poorly educated pro-Russian populist who's de facto ruling the country to this day and doesn't have courage to hold at least one free election. Due to that, in 2001, when I was choosing a high school to go to, imagine, in the country with a population of almost 10 million, there was only one high school where I could study in Belarusian language. And even if you graduated afterwards, there were no universities where all subjects would have been taught in Belarusian at all. It's difficult to understand the situation using any other country as an example, but I may try to explain it this way. Imagine for a moment that there is a new Francophile Prime Minister in Canada who decided to close all English-speaking high schools and universities just because he hates English language and everything related to this piece of Canadian culture. I know that's not the best comparison, but that's what was happening more or less at that time with Belarusian language in Belarus. So I got accepted, and after 2 years of studying, the government decided to close my high school and threw us away from the building, which they later on turned into a court. The justification was absurd. They said that our high school was the nest of opposition. Do you get this? The nest of opposition, kids in high school. Like, how weak should the government be to be scared of kids? Well, anyway, we didn't give up, and thanks to devoted teachers, our parents, and donations, we continued to study as a private high school, which of course was not approved by the government. We had to rent different unadapted office premises so we could have some space together and study, and at the very end of these difficult 2 last years of high school, due to the fact that our high school was not existing on paper, apart from graduation exams, we had to also go through 15 government exams for the entire secondary school in order to get the certificate of completion. That was tough, but we made it. We received the right to apply for studies to the universities in Belarus. Governments from several countries that were aware of the situation in Belarus were very supportive and helpful. Some of them even proposed scholarships for the entire 5 years of studies as a gesture of support. One of these countries was Poland. The only condition was to technically waste 1 more year by studying Polish language and a few subjects in Polish in order to legally get accepted to the university. This was kind of an equivalent to a Polish school diploma. I knew a bit of Polish language because I used to travel here a lot, and it's not a difficult language to learn if you are Belarusian, so that was a pretty easy decision for me from that perspective. I didn't want to waste this opportunity, so a couple of months later, I moved to Poland and started my adulthood far from my family and ready for the new period in my life. The funny thing was that I wasn't even an adult yet. I was 17 and my parents had to write a legal permission to allow me to travel abroad. So technically speaking, I left my home while being a child. Of course, we visited each other every year, sometimes even a couple of times a year, but this was already a totally different page of my life. This was the moment when I transformed into an adult. So yeah, this is my story. Now you know much more about me. Thank you for getting to the very end of this video. If you liked it, you'll probably also be interested in this video over here, where I'm talking about why I speak English in my videos. If you have any questions about what I was talking about today, go ahead and put them in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them. And if you want to support me and my journey with this YouTube channel, like this video and subscribe if you haven't done that yet. Let's stay in touch. Cheers!